Welcome to the Transom Podcast, a monthly roundup of the new features on the transom.org website, providing mathematical puzzles, games, learning activities, and the ever-popular mathematics lesson starter of the day. Here's your host, John Tranter.
As I sit here updating the Transom website, I have the radio on for a little bit of background noise. The presenter, Max Mallen, has just asked the following riddle. If I start at 5 and add 6, I get 11. But if I start at 6 and add 7, I get 1. What am I? Anyway, listeners were invited to send in a message to the studio with their answers, and guess what? I did. Anyway, that's your puzzle for this podcast, and the answer will be at the end of the podcast. So get thinking. This month, March, contains Pi Day on the 14th of March. And I would like to start by directing you to some resources that will help make Pi Day memorable for your students. They are all linked from the 14th of March Starter of the Day page. The main fun activity is a memory competition in which pupils challenge each other to remember as many digits of pi as possible. Further down that page, you will find links to other more traditional pi activities, including areas and circumferences of circles. There are also some unexpected facts, some videos and jokes on that page. Now, some schools make a really big deal of Pi Day. Each year, their Pi Day will have a different theme. Recently, Craig Barton interviewed top Scottish maths teacher Chris Smith, who talked about his school's themes from previous years. Now, I've included an excerpt of the interview. I hope Craig doesn't mind. Here we go.
Well, what have been some of your favourite Pi Day escapades over the years, Chris?
So, I mean, each year, we try and make it memorable, and these things start off as like a spark of an idea, and I try and get things firmed up, and usually about December or January time. There's always hiccups, there's always problems. I'm never sure whether Pi Day is going to be the culmination of all these ideas, or whether it's going to be a massive failure. But thankfully, so far, it's been all right. Sometimes the pun comes first. You know, we did a water-based one, so it was hydrotherapy this year. We did use blowtorches, I'm going to admit, to doing that risk assessment in retrospect. But that was for pyrotechnics. We built pie scrapers, and we've done loads of things. I think my favourite year, though, is still 2013, and we did two things that year. One was that we wrote the lyrics for and performed the Pi MCA, and one of the things I love about this is that it was not my idea. Okay, I was willing to run with it, but this was a boy Joe said, "Sir, you know, what about a maths song? You know, instead of the YMCA, why don't we do the Pi MCA, the Pi Maths Class Anthem?" Do you know what I mean? And I just thought that was brilliant. And so we took that and we wrote a whole bunch of lyrics. I brought the piano into the class. The kids said, "Right, we'll make up a wee dance routine for the chorus where we pair up to form the letter Pi. Since we're doing a village people tribute, we should all wear fake moustaches." So these guys were going for it big time. And so we filmed this and recorded it, and it was just brilliant. These guys have all finished school. They've left school. They're off to do a variety of things, and I know how their lives have panned out. You know, some of them are off at university. Some have had tough things to go through. But as I look at those pictures, I see a bunch of kids who were really enthusiastic, really, you know, singing their hearts out, shouting about Pi, and that when it came to the Museum of Maths in New York, MoMath, they had a Pi song competition, and the Pi MCA was like the winner for that for their age category. And so sort of like international music competition. So amazing. So I love the Pi MCA, and I still watch it, and I still appreciate Kevin dancing up in the back left corner. He is amazing. He's a thing to behold.
Wow.
But that.
You are listening to the Transom Podcast. You can find Transum Mathematics at www.transum.org.
Excellent. So please let me know what you end up doing on Pi Day. It would be really interested to collect some ideas together. Now, Transum has a finger in every pie, pun intended. You can follow Transum on Twitter. You can like the Transum Facebook page. You can listen, share, and thumbs up the podcast on Stitcher or on Apple Podcasts. So lots of places to go and find Transum on different platforms and to give some support. That'd be great. During February, the volume and the surface area activities were updated on the Transum website. There are now more questions grouped into more levels and additionally more exam-style questions for the older students. Not all levels will be suitable for every student, so you will need to click on the description tab to see the content of the levels and then direct your pupils to the appropriate level. Continuing the story of me listening to the radio as I work, last Sunday, Elaine Page on BBC Radio 2 had a 2-hour programme in which every song she played had a number in the title. My immediate reaction was, wow, this is a great idea for a Transum activity, maybe. But then, on further reflection, I decided that you had to be of a certain age to know the song she was playing, so I tossed the idea into the bin. But if you'd like to link to that, if you are of a certain age perhaps, I've put the link, as well as the link to everything else I mention in this podcast, at transum.org/newsletter. Now, after discussing the royal game of if you remember from last month's podcast, a Transum activity got mentioned on the Frank Skinner Saturday morning show on Absolute Radio. If you haven't used the remainder race yet, which is the game that was based on the royal game of anyway, I highly recommend it. It is the moves are determined by calculating remainders. So there's a bit of numeracy in there, a lot of strategy, and it provides a fun numeracy practice in the last 20 minutes of your lesson. Anyway, just as before, I've borrowed this little excerpt from Frank's show when they're talking about the remainder race. Here we go.
Funny thoughts on the royal game of at the British Museum.
Oh, yes.
From Frank on the radio. I've created a basic maths version of the game called Remainder Race. You could play it with your son, Buzz.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
A maths version.
It's a maths version, which I'm going to provide you with later.
Remainder race.
Yes, Remainder Race.
I'm guessing it's a decimal point thing, is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's got dominoes and all sorts on it.
I didn't think it was a Brexit thing, remainder race.
No, I think that's gone now.
Yeah, you're right.
They've had that argument. Okay, well, that's lovely.
Yeah.
I love a maths-based game.
And we've had some...
I don't, but I'll lose.
Are they giving us the rules, or are they not telling us?
I'll share them with you later. It looks good. It looks an
Is
interesting
it a
read.
detailed rule analysis?
Oh, there's all sorts going on. There's a link and everything.
Wow.
A 2018 paper suggesting that people who have a surname beginning with a letter towards the end of the alphabet are more likely to end up academically and professionally undistinguished. How did I know this? Yes, you guessed it, on the radio. Well, not strictly the radio, but a podcast called No Such Thing as a Fish. Here we go.
Okay, it's time for fact number 2, and that is James.
Okay, my fact this week is that a 2018 paper suggesting that people who have a surname which occurs towards the end of the alphabet are more likely to end up academically and professionally undistinguished was co-authored by Professor Jeffrey Zaks.
I love co-author because he couldn't even individually author his own paper.
And he co-authored it with the guy whose name was Corley, beginning with C.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He was the brains behind it, wasn't he? The C guy.
Well, Jeffrey Zaks is quite cool, actually. He's a University of Boulder psychologist, and I listened to an interview with him on a radio show called Top of the Mind. And they asked him, is the reason you're doing this because obviously you had a bad time of it because of your name? And he said he was sensitized to the issue because of that, but actually it doesn't affect him because according to their study, it doesn't affect people who are distinguished in any other way. So if you're kind of top of your class at school or bottom of your class, or you look different, or you're more attractive or less attractive, it doesn't really affect you. It only affects people who are right in the middle. But they found that actually it does affect them. It means it gives them less distinction at high school, less satisfaction at high school, and lower educational attainment after they've left school. And until you're about middle-aged, it affects you quite badly, according to them.
What's the justification here? Is it just about reading out the register?
So there are a few different reasons. For instance, infant school, a lot of kids are put in alphabetical order, so the kids beginning with A are near the front of the class, which means they get more attention. And people just tend to get asked more for things. So for not school, for instance, if your name is towards the start of the alphabet, you're less likely to give money to charity, and that's because you get rung up more because your name is at the front of the alphabet, and you get more annoyed by it, and so you're less likely to give money.
Really?
Yeah.
It's also like in when it's graduation and they're handing out diplomas. This is one of the things mentioned. You start A to Z. It's all really exciting at the top, and then by the time you get to Zuckerberg,
and that's why he never made anything. Exactly, right?
But when you get to the end, most people have left because they want to get the restaurants early, and everyone who's applauding, their arms are tired and stuff like that. And so it's no good.
Terrible. And I can understand if you're marking a big pile of exam papers, and Aaron J. Aronson makes a point, and then Sammy Zammy makes the same point. You think, I read this in Aaron J. Aronson's article, and that was hours ago.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you mark it lower.
So, and the teacher might say, okay, can someone read the report? Aaron
Pancake Day is on the 5th of March this year. And, as you may have guessed, Transom has a virtual pancake tossing activity which lets pupils participate in a themed challenge while developing their mathematics. In fact, you could also demonstrate the rules using real pancakes, which the pupils could then eat at the end of the lesson with lashings of sugar and lemon juice. Or maybe not. Anyway, the link to the virtual activity can be found in the newsletter, transom.org/newsletter. Okay, so the answer to the puzzle of this month is a clock. Because if you start at 6 a.m. and add 7 hours, it will be 1 p.m. So the official answer is a clock. Did you get it? Well, that's all for this month. Enjoy your pancakes and pies. Bye.
Thank you for downloading and listening to the Transom podcast. You can find the website at www.transom.org, where you're welcome to use all of the activities absolutely free. Or jump in with both feet and become a Transom subscriber.